Hello, and welcome to another installment of FIT Talks, the oral history program of the Fashion Institute of Technology, one of 64 campuses of the State University of New York. I'm James Ferguson, a Special Collections and College Archives Associate and Curator. We're coming to you today from the FIT campus on West 27th Street and 7th Avenue in Manhattan. It is April 3rd, 2025, and the time is 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I have the privilege to be joined today by one of FIT's most illustrious alumni, Japan's mother of fashion business, Yoko Ohara. Yoko, welcome to the program, and thank you so much for participating.
Thank you so much, and it's such an honor not to be videotaped, but also to speak at my alma mater, which is wonderful.
We're grateful to have you. So, to start, for context, would you please tell us a little bit about your childhood and upbringing?
Yes, I was born in Osaka, and way back, like 1938. And my parents were very wonderful people, and I had one brother and one sister. My father, because he was working for the big corporation, we transferred from this location to another. I have had 4 grade school change throughout Japan, which made me kind of very, not international, within Japan, domestic international. Mm-hmm. So can talk different dialects, Osaka or Nagoya or Tokyo kind of thing.
Right.
And my parents are very forward-looking, and my mother was kind of pioneer of women, career woman. She was the English typist in English, She she had to, at one point, support the family, so she became a real professional in that area. And she was the one who always told me that you really have to have something that you can stand on your own. Also, my father was a very courageous man, and he did not hesitate to send me to study in U.S. at the age of 16 under the AFS, American Field Service High School Exchange. People were surprised. You are sending your daughter to America 10 years after the end of the war, and we fought against each other, kind of things. But he said, oh, this is a wonderful opportunity. And so I was brought up in a very nice environment, I should say, yes.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I really didn't have any specific goal, but I wanted to prove that being a woman, there's a lot of prejudice at that time. So even a woman can contribute to the society was my sort of dream from childhood. Probably I got it from my mother, yes.
Great. What was your education?
Well, I have a long list of schools, but I would say I went to Mankato High School when I was 16. This was my beginning of the study abroad. And then I went into the University of Tokyo, which is one of the prestigious, not top university in Japan. And then I went to FIT, of course, which is another very prestigious place. And after that, I think the last one I graduated was the Harvard Business School AMP program in 1997. So that's it.
That's a lot. What was your first job?
My first job is a product developer at a huge fiber producer company like DuPont in the States. Asahi Chemical Industry it was called. Now it's Asahi Kasei Corporation. And what I did was that was the era when the synthetic fibers are really in full bloom. After nylon came polyester and acrylic, etc. And Asahi was a very strongly technical oriented company. So they started working on this acrylic fiber on their own rather than making any technical licensing arrangement with other companies like DuPont or Ron Poulan. They did try to do it alone, but they were having problems. And they came out with the very innovative idea of hiring one woman college graduate who understands about clothes, doesn't have to be a designer, but understands and enjoys wearing clothes. And also who can communicate with three different type of people, a designer, and a chemical technician, and a salesperson. So I was, my job was to coordinate these three people to come up with a new yarn, textile, or knitwear, because acrylic was very good for knitwear. And that was my first job. But I was told that there's nobody who can teach you how to do this job, so you have to learn on your own. Please self-educate yourself. And you can spend any money you want on educating yourselves. So that was a great opportunity. And since I could read English, I subscribed for so many publications like American Textile, International Textile, Knitwear Industry, all the piles of this monthly publication. I read them, and then I came out to have an idea of there's such a thing as fashion merchandising or styling or fashion marketing, fashion coordination. Such a thing exists in the United States, which is the area that I was struggling with this product development. So that became a kind of dream to study this in America.
Wonderful. And when you were selected to be a Fulbright scholar in the 1960s, what led you to choose to study here at the Fashion Institute of Technology?
Well, as I said, I wanted to study this specialized area like fashion, especially fashion merchandising, was the area that I was struggling with. So that was my first priority. And I applied for Fulbright scholarship under marketing master's degree program entry. And when I was interviewed by the four interviewers for the scholarship, they keep asking, what is FIT? We have never heard of it. Of course, FIT was not known in Japan at that time. And you're not getting master's degree if you go here. It will be associate in applied science. And I had to explain how important Fashion Institute, FIT, is in America, and also that is the only high-level educational institute catering to the trade, fashion business trade. And I really wanted to go here. And then there were 4 interviewers and 3 very probably elite scholars and 1 American. And they said, no, this 1-year program was, you need to be either a graduate of a junior high or a full college, 4 years college. So I thought that was graduate studies. So I emphasized that. And finally I thought, well, okay, let's forget it. I thought I didn't pass. But later this American interviewer really insisted, even at the interview, he said, if this is the only school that teaches the level of education that she wants, why don't we let her in? And other three people, no. But it turned out to be so. And that was the first impression, my impression about American education, how it is fair and how it focuses to the individual's needs and wants and desire. I was so impressed with that.
That's great. Now, we know you became, once you came here, a disciple of Jeanette Jarnow.
Yes.
Founder of Fashion Business Management and the author of Inside the Fashion Business. Mm-hmm. Professor Jarnow said that she believed that you were the most successful FIT graduate of all time because it wasn't that you founded a company or a brand or a fashion, you actually created an entire market that's taken its place with the fashion capitals of the world. Would you like to tell us about the impact of your translation of Professor Jarnow's text, both on FIT and the Japanese fashion industry?
Thank you very much. And it was so nice of Jeanette Jarnow, my, how to say that, mentor, mm-hmm. say that. But it is not only my contribution, but the support of Asahi Kasei, now it's mm-hmm. called, and all the supporters of Japanese industry who wanted to learn more about what's going on here, what is the most advanced thing and all that. So after this book, after they read this book, they came up to the top management of Asahi Kasei saying that we need to learn more about this, and why don't you start a seminar, an educational program. That's how this Asahi FIT seminar started, and it lasted for, believe me or not, 28 years, from 1970 to 1997. But the impact was great, and the biggest thing is, well, my first impression of FIT was a shock. First thing I learned, first day, was fashion is business. And I thought fashion was something very pretty and, it's a beautiful art form of clothes. Mm-hmm. But I learned that unless you win money from the customer, you're not going to stay in the business. So that was my first one. And the second thing I learned, which Jeanette Jarnow's book told the Japanese industry, was that it covers all the industry, from fiber, textile mills and textile wholesaler, apparel manufacturer, and retailer. And it's all totally should be sort of not integrated, but totally connected and related, was the story of this book, which was not there in Japan at that time. In Japan, fiber producer was big, like Asahi, and the textile people are big because they're exporting silk and polyester fabrics, exporting them. That's a big business in Japan, economy-wise. And there's not much of an apparel industry. There's apparel factories there. And there was not so much of a retail developed yet. Mm-hmm. There were the department stores, but they did business on consignment, to bring in and just whatever sells is their sales, but that comes in from apparel producer. But in this book, the retail is the center of the whole this flow. The retail cashier is the voting box of what fashion is another thing that I learned. And so you really have to focus on to retail. That was another thing the industry really were surprised. So, and also the education here is a real practical oriented education. And a lot of things I was amazed to learn at FIT, analyzing what type of fiber it's used for this cloth. The only thing you need at the buyer's office is the match to set a fire and the water to see this, to compare the strengths of whether it's rayon or cotton or linen, when it's stronger, when it's wet, or when it's stronger, dry, kind of thing. So,
Okay.
and the fingernail manicure, the remover, it's an acetone, so it melts acetate. Well, it's not that simple now, but at that time I was with Asahi Kasei, which is a chemical company, and all the analysis was done in the laboratory with the, flasco, you call it, a beaker, and things like that. And this little thing that you have around you is the tool to identify what fiber it was. That kind of things was really, really impressive. So this book, going back to your question, it's really a great impact on the industry leaders. And that's how started this Asahi FIT seminar. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, how did you handle the challenges of international communication in your work, including language barriers and major cultural differences?
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, when I translated this, I did the translation of this book. I didn't say that. The original title in English is Inside the Fashion Business. And there's no such a word as fashion business in Japan at that time. There was a mode from Paris, but that's it. And no ready-to-wear fashion kind of thing. So we had 3.5 hours argument on how to translate this fashion business into Japanese. And we went through this and that and that. And finally, the publisher, the editor, chief editor, said that, this sounds, fashion business sounds okay to make it into Japanese. So this is the translation of that book, but it says, we pronounce it like fashion business. So this is the world of fashion business. That became a Japanese word at that time. And so the word and the concept of fashion business was introduced that way to Japan. That's why I'm sometimes called the godmother of the fashion business. I'm not quite comfortable with that.
You introduced a new word and concept.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's really true. Mm-hmm. Did I answer your question?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Unless there are anything else.
I see. About the communication difficulty. Yeah. This is not at FIT, but when I went to the Harvard AMP program in 1997, I went there because we decided to start a school like FIT in Japan. And I am going to be the president eventually, I was told. So I have had a lot of education, but I didn't have any education in the real management to be a CEO kind of thing. So I wanted to go to this AMP program. And somewhat I probably got a lot of attention because I was one of 15 women attending the AMP course from all over the world. About 180 people, participants were there. And only a woman, 15, 16, and I'm from Japan. So they picked me up, just for that reason, I think, to be a speaker of at the graduation, representing the participants. And I said, no, I can 10 minutes in speech in English. That's no way I can do it because I have so much assignment, all that. Toward the end, it becomes more tough. And so I said, no. But they insisted. So I said, okay. And I tried to speak about leadership, which was the main subject of the last week when what they called CEO week is on. But during that time, I came to realize that the AMP attendees from all over the world, especially from outside of Japan, were kind of, how do you say it? They felt a little uncomfortable being there because it was the heyday for America, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The high-tech industry was growing in the later 90s. And the, the participants who came from all over the world where they don't speak English, you see, more than half of the participants came from non-English speaking countries. And I had so hard time every time Joe comes out. I don't know, what is he saying? I had an interpreting machine, and my friend next seat helped me with that. That kind of thing. We suffered for 10 weeks of that. So I wanted to communicate, tell the audience that how it is difficult to understand the different culture, different history, with different people in all over the world. I wanted to make that come across. I started my speech, first 30 minutes in Japanese. And I said, 本日は皆様を代表して卒業生のスピーチをさせていただきます。大変光栄でございます。And people were shocked, about 500 people, including a famous professor and other spices, VIP from the industry. They were kind of, they might have thought I became crazy. But anyway, I said, after 30 seconds, I said, 30 seconds, I did it.
30 seconds, right.
Our 10 weeks was like this, and then they came to level. And because we didn't understand the jokes, and jokes are very cultural, like Frito-Lay, and nobody understands from other countries what is, it's a potato chip company. Everyday words for Americans, but it's not. See, that kind of things, I may give examples, and they always loved it. So that's how I communicated how difficult it is to understand different culture and different people.
That's great. You've worked with notable, so many FIT figures such as Shirley Goodman, Marvin Feldman, and Jeanette Jarno. Do you have any favorite memories from your time with them or anyone else here?
Well, with Jeanette Jarno, she is always very straightforward to ask Yoko, what do you want? Kind of things. That was, you really have to be clear on your mind and heart what you're talking about. That was a very big education. With Marvin Feldman, there are two things. I was inducted in the Hall of Fame of Fashion FBM. At that time, or maybe a little later, I was told later, there was a big argument at the Board of Trustees or something like that, up board at FIT or FIT Education. Board of Education, that FIT is sending FIT professors to teach Japanese industry, which is our competitor. Why do you do that using American citizens, New Yorkers' money, tax money? President Feldman was put into the position to be accused of that. And he said, I was told, I'm very impressed with that, he said there's no such a thing as borders in the international world of education. So if the people outside of America becomes more educated and level becomes higher, that will be good for America, he said. And that was such a great vision, I thought. The other thing I was very fascinated with, this is the kind of program we had with the famous people. This was the 20th anniversary booklet of Asahi FIT seminar, and we had President Feldman and Sherry Goodman and Jack Rittenberg and Nick Valitis, and we have people like Luciano Benetton and Jerry Chase, and these are from the industry, but these part mostly FIT faculty. And this Ed Newman, he was the vice president of the Dan River Mills. He's a fashion creative director. And I wanted to ask him to come over to Japan, so I worked with John Volpe, who was the FIT Continuing Education Center director, who arranged the program with me to send Japan. So this Ed Newman, we developed a program called Fashion Styling. It's not only the teaching, but the real workshop of finishing up 10 boards, starting with the concept, color, and the finished presentation board to sell to your customer. It was fantastically successful. And then next year, President Feldman came to me and, Yoko, I understand you are using FIT's name to do something of your own with Ed Newman. And, oh my God. And, well, I thought he was super and most advanced and all that. I explained. And he said, okay. And then next year, FIT started that course.
That's great.
So, and the Shari Goodman we invited her for the 10th anniversary. And we requested her to explain what the industry education is like, what is the most important thing for that. And what she said was, it's the industry people who have to work together with you. You have to get the support, the involvement of the industry. Otherwise, you will not succeed. Mm-hmm. This was a big message. This was 1979. And when this IFI Business School, which I presided, started in 1998, we had that, her message of Sherry Goodman, of involve your trade. Well, that was the first line of 8, how do you call it, 8
commandments?
Commandments, right? Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, yeah.
That's great. So, you were here with a group of top Japanese executives doing an on-campus symposium when 9/11 happened in 2001. What was that like, and what did you do?
Well, we had a 6 days program here in New York, including the trip to New Jersey stores. And the first day went okay. It was Tuesday, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And the first Monday went okay. And the second day at 8:45 it happens. We were at the 8th floor of the Nazi building, the building next to that, doing a seminar. And during the first break, in the hall, there are people running around. And when we look at downtown, one tower was gone. And then after the second break, the second one is gone. And we were told to evacuate before 12 o'clock because the FIT is going to be an emergency shelter. And we were told to move away. And so 26 executives plus 2 interpreters and our staff, 3 of them, 30 people, rushed out of the building. But it was interesting, and I'm very grateful to that. There was another speaker who was to speak at 12 here. And he rushed into our seminar department said, "I'm sorry, I'm a little late because of something was wrong with the subway," and he didn't know that something like that.
Right.
But anyway, so he had about 20 minutes of condensed version presentation at the seminar the reception office at the entrance of the D building. Yeah, and then we went back to the Hotel Intercontinental, and we did what to do. But we watched television, and every hour, the what was the name of the mayor, the
Giuliani.
Giuliani. He was at the press conference every 1 hour with the fire department chief and police department chief, three of them. And we watched them, interpreted very carefully, and we were learning a real case of tragedy, emergency, how to handle it. And Giuliani may have a lot of issues, but we really were impressed with how American mayor handles that kind of situation, with just put your hate or the anger away, and now we concentrate to save these people, plus we concentrate to get America, New York, back to normal stage. It was kind of issue. He kept saying that.
Yep.
And so that was a very real lesson to us. And also we did our own, within the hotel, own session with all these are, some of them are very prominent, the top management in Japan. So
Right.
we took turn to teach and share what we have and what each person has, and what we have learned from FIT in the past, kind of things. And then the third day, John Volpe and I worked together that, in New Jersey, it's not as still stressful. So we could do a trip if we do it quietly, the store visit. So on the fourth day, I think, Thursday, we did a little tour up. But going back was another big challenge, but
Yeah.
I will skip that. So this was a real learning lesson of leadership and how to handle the hazardous situation.
Yeah. Which person would you say has had the most positive influence on your life, and what did they say or do to influence you?
Well, besides Janet Jarno, I would say my mother, I think, because she, as I said at the beginning, she was born when, anyway, she was about 26 years old, older than me, which is born like 1990 or something like that. She was a very pioneering woman. She played tennis, went to a YMCA to learn English, to make a better typist English. She tried hard to support her family, but she was always trying to be pretty and elegant. And she encouraged me to be on your own, and to be courageous.
Wonderful.
So I thought she was really,
That's great.
yep.
Now, you've won numerous academic and professional awards and honors at FIT and elsewhere. Would you like to tell us about some of the awards and honors that were especially meaningful to you?
Well, from FIT, I was awarded three things. One was the Hall of Fame of FBM, and the second was the the distinguished industry advocate award, which was 1997 from the foundation, FIT Foundation I got. And the third one was the Lifetime Leadership Award from Joyce Brown. But the second one was very inspiring for me because the word advocate, we have the translation if you try too hard to translate it in Japanese, but we don't have that kind of concept that you try to promote or something that's new and sort of educate the industry and you lead it. Is that the word meaning, right?
Yeah.
And I was so happy to receive that word, advocate, leadership. And I had to make a speech of 10 minutes at the Hilton Hotel, big gala. And I asked the FIT executive director, Martin, not Martin, the
Marvin?
Marvin, Richard, I'll come.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. I asked him, Richard Streiter.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I would like to thank Asahi Chemical for all what I have done to support it and let me do this kind of huge things with a woman at that time. It's nothing.
Yeah.
But I asked him because it may be odd for Americans that I'm an employee of Asahi, but I'm thankful to Asahi. That may not sound right. So what Richard Streiter said that, well, Yoko, you can put it this way. I would like to thank Asahi Kasei for their faith in me. And I thought I went to tears when I was saying that in that speech. But I thought, again, America's education philosophy is something that you really focus on the individuals, how to bring their best and how to put them in the right position whenever it's appropriate. That is the thing I learned from this occasion, the award.
That's great.
Okay. Thank you for asking.
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, my English is not
You are doing
good
brilliantly.
today.
Are there other professional achievements among your many that are particularly important to you, such as your work on developing and empowering women?
Yeah. Before that, I would like to talk about the IFI Business School, which was, we sort of wanted to make not a copy, but a Japanese version of FIT. And I have been working the government, METI, Ministry of at that time, METI, Industry and Trade. I have started working on this with them coming up. Every time the new manager came, I explained about FIT and I want a school like this. I started doing that in 1977 or something like 75. And after 20 years, they finally came up with this white paper, the government white paper, which is saying that we can't wait anymore. We need a school totally oriented to the industry in the high educational level, college.
Right.
So that was in 1989, and we started working this school called the IFI Business School, which IFI stand for Industries for Institute for the Fashion Industries, yes. And I became a president of that and served as a vice president for 1 year and then 10 years of prison up until 2009. That was my accomplishment, kind of proud of. The other thing is, thank you for mentioning women's empowerment.
Yeah.
This is something I started in 2014. Even though the industry is growing and people are getting more educated and more professional, the women are not left behind, but they stay in a kind of level ranks, the assistant manager or maybe manager level, not high executive level yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to really push that and came up with this concept of institute. Let me see. I'm sorry, I'm not. Mine is not money. Women's empowerment in fashion.
Excellent.
Yeah. So that I started, and I wanted to make women more confident of themselves and about their ability and the future. And also I wanted the environment, the men's world, the business world, change. So I wanted to have many different programs to educate this, not educate, I shouldn't word, but the advocate
Yes, exactly.
this idea to the industry. So that I have been doing for 10 years. And a lot of things, but it was a great privilege that I have been able to be involved in that kind of things, yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. What would you most like for people to remember about you?
I would like to be remembered as an innovative individual, a woman, innovative individual. I needed the courage to do that. For example, the translation of Janet Jano's book had a great challenge. It was the anniversary program for Asahi's 10th anniversary of this acrylic fiber cashmere. And I explained I would like to translate the book for this occasion. And then I was in New York at FIT. They sent me in a telex at that time, not fax, not email, telex. Tell me more about that. So about 3 back and forth communication, including the airmail post. And finally, the top management of who's responsible for that division, the fiber and textile, asked, not me directly, but the person in charge, this looks like a great book, but wouldn't Asahi lose face if we publish this as a commemoration of 10th anniversary of acrylic fiber? And that question came to me, 28 years old girl, who has no way of understanding how big is the responsibility of this. Right. I know it's big, but how big? So I thought about it 3 nights, biting my neck. But I should be courageous, I thought. If I can say that, well, there's a risk, so we can think something. We can find something else rather than this. I could have said that, but I thought it was such a great opportunity to introduce this brand new concept of a fashion business to Japan.
Yeah.
And if I hesitate and say, okay, forget it, on my own awkward feeling, that would be a great mistake, I thought. So I said, we will not lose face. That was the very short message I said. That was the kind of thing that I had gone through. This was the biggest commitment I made in my career. So in my career, there are a lot of things that I started new, like starting this women's empowerment in fashion, or starting speech at Harvard with Japanese
yeah.
language. So things like that is something that's, what do you call that, the, not feeling water, but something that you really risk the, some risk of something that nobody has done anything like that. How do you call that?
Innovative.
Innovative,
Definitely.
yes. So
Certainly.
I would like very much to be remembered
Yeah,
like that.
that's
Thank you.
wonderful. You've accomplished so much, and you're still so active. Do you have any particular plans or dreams for the future?
Well, I am still, uh, I think, healthy, and I would like to continue the advocate, especially with young people. So most recently, last year and this year also, I'm going to do. There's what they call One Young World. It's kind of a Davos,
Mm-hmm.
Davos symposium, co- Davos forum.
Okay.
Yeah, for young people, and I was a speaker of that. And like that kind of occasion, you can meet young people, college, or even high school, middle school students to maybe a woman career who's really hitting the wall at around 30
Right.
years old age, kind of wall. I wrote this book, Break Down the Wall. This is for career development, written to a woman, but Uniqlo, the founder, Yanai-san, wrote a nice message here, and Miss Ohara has been my teacher for my business. Isn't that flattering? And he said, not only women, but men should read this. That was a great compliment. But anyway, with this kind of book and lecture and symposium, I'm trying to come close to young people, to motivate them so that they can be more confident. Japanese people tend to be very modest and not so confident in themselves,
Mm-hmm.
which is a great problem, I think. It's a sad thing to be that way, I think.
Yeah.
So that's what I might to doing
That's
to
wonderful.
continue with.
And finally, is there a question that I didn't ask that you wish I had?
Well, I had written a book about fashion business in 2016. That was a time when, after the Lehman shock and all that, the industry was going sort of down
Mm-hmm.
and still suffering a lot. It's not the heyday of the 60s, 70s, even in this country. In Japan, we had the great earthquake, and
Yeah.
so all that things really sort of depressed the industry. And also with the AI technologies, business is changing drastically with the startups like the Uber and Airbnb and Rent a Runway and all these things were coming up around this time. So I wrote a book. I prepared about 4 years of research and writing. And it says fashion business creating the future. And the meaning is that future is not something you forecast. It's something that you create. This is a message, and Barry Steele helped me with one of these pages about what is the element of fashion, how is it changing toward the future. The triangle I have, and she said, "Oh, this is a very good idea," she said. So, thank you, Barry.
That's wonderful. It has been such a privilege to have you here. And
Same here. Thank you very much.
thank you. Arigato.
ありがとうございました。